So I know that it's a lot of reading, but please do look at the website what this is about. The reason why you should see something and you don't see anything. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Where was I? The reason why I really want to have these info sessions is exactly that. Global IQ Connect, with many students, you might have all kind of ideas what it is. And in fact, it will mean different things to you. So I'd like to have this to clarify some questions, but also clarify some misunderstandings. It's not about IQ, your IQ that is tested globally all over the world and compared to other students. It has nothing to do with IQ. But the name, 2 years ago when I started this program, the name was the favorite name for the program out of a student focus group. And they like this. So it has nothing to do with your IQ. I'm not testing your intelligence. What I would like to do is encourage you and motivate you to develop another kind of skill, which is called CQ, cultural intelligence. Again, has nothing to do with whether you're intelligent culturally. It means that whether you have the knowledge or can develop the skills to, intercultural communication skills, the skills to function and be very comfortable in a very intercultural, diverse environment. That is what this program is about. So, when I asked you in the beginning, or when I said in the beginning that you might have very different aims, after 2 years running this program, I think I can say generally that international students, and I'm generalizing here, okay, there are always exceptions. International students like this program because they want to make friends, pure networking, okay? That is not what this program is essentially about. It is about that, but it's much, much more. Okay, it's not just a fun program where you get together and you just talk, and then in between you have nice social events. It is more than that. But it will introduce you to Australian culture. I can match you with an Australian student, with a local student. So when I say local student, I mean an Australian student. A student who might not be Caucasian, who might not have English or Irish or, British background, but a student who has grown up here, knows Australian culture, and might have that culture as one of the cultures he or she has. So that's what I mean with local student. Local students are looking for something else, generally. Local students have told me they are looking really to develop their intercultural skills as part of the employability skill. So employers in Australia are looking for this skill, so the intercultural skill, meaning can an applicant be comfortable and work efficiently and effectively in an intercultural environment. And they're not only thinking about, of course, Australia having different different cultures, being very multicultural. Think about, please, about culture much more broadly than just the difference between the culture of our individual countries we are from, where we just grow up. Culture is much broader than that. So if you think, for instance, we say a company culture, that company could be entirely Chinese, let's say, entirely from Shanghai. All the employees might be from Shanghai, yeah? But whether you speak to an engineer or you speak to a marketing person, those are two different cultures. The same thing between generations. Yeah, the culture between two generations. So the culture between, let's put the example of China again, because of the very rapid change within China, there are really differences in the different generations. And I'm not even saying parents and child, but also between the different generations of young people because of the rapid change. Those are different cultures. So while we are going to talk about, in this program, directly about you introducing your cultural background to your teammates, the skills you will learn by doing that, or the skills that you will deepen by doing that, you can apply that to other situations. When you look for a job, when you discuss, who am I? What do I bring to the table? If you go overseas, for instance, for studying, and you come back, there are many students we see who don't realize that what they've learned can be translated into a real experience. How do you verbalize that? How do you introduce what you've learned? All of that is good also for your job. It's good also for your social life. So, in other words, we will in this program we focus on the cultures between countries, but the skills you can learn by doing this, by engaging with a student or several students from a different cultural background, the skills are applicable to other areas of your life. And it will be difficult maybe at the beginning to understand that, but I think if you go through the program and speak to other students, and you will have the opportunity to speak to participants, that is really the aim of this program. Okay, so, but whether you just want to make friends or you want to really develop your skills for employability, all of that is possible through the program. But as I mentioned before, please think about that this is not only a networking program. Okay, it's more than that. So as I said, develop your intercultural skills, manage cultural diversity. Also, when you interact in a small group with your fellow student, you will realize that we all of us, we have some assumptions, some cultural assumptions, stereotyping going on. Okay? If you see a name, for instance, okay, I'll talk about me. If I see a name, the name will give me I deduct something from the name. That can be right, but that can be absolutely wrong. Yeah? But the name, for instance, I see a name, or I see a person and I say, okay, this must be a Korean person because of the features, or this must be, we deduct. We all make assumptions, cultural assumptions. In this program, when you engage socially with your fellow student, you hopefully will be able to recognize the stereotypes you have, question them, and see whether you change or your meaning or your opinion changes, or maybe they're confirmed. But what I would like you to do in this program is go beyond the stereotypes. We all have them, all of us, and it's really interesting to see how that can be changed and how to manage that. Because stereotyping is very human. But stereotyping, when it becomes negative, that's when it becomes racism, that's when it becomes judgmental, and when you have cultural intelligence, CQ, you avoid that. And there are skills and mechanisms to do that, and all of that you can learn or deepen in this program. Okay? So the central question of this program is, what is culture, and how are we influenced by that? And to that end, I have put together an online resource in Canvas, okay? And you will all, if you register for the program, you all will have access to that. You will also have to sign in. So it's not a course. Please, it's extracurricular, this program. It has nothing to do with your studies. You don't get grades, you don't get exams, you don't have to pay any fees. But I put that course together online, and I want you to all, those who register, to sign up so that I can communicate with you about through that. But if you're interested, there's also this resource that I put together on the fundamentals of what is culture, how are we influenced by that, how can we work around stereotypes and so on. You don't have to look at that material. You can absolutely forget about it, but it might be a help for you. But the central question is, what is culture and how are we influenced by it? How are we affected? So, at the end of this program, so you will see, and hopefully you've seen on the website, I have two schemes. This semester, I'm offering the scheme of 5 months. That means that once the program starts, and that will be on the 10th of April this year, you will receive an email from me if you registered and then who I matched you with. And then the program starts. That will go on from the 10th of April, 5 months until the 10th of September. Yeah? If you're not here that long, for those among you who might be in your last year or so, it's fine if you let me know. You can also do a 10-week one, so the half the time. Okay? But normally this semester I'm offering this program 5 months long. Now, this doesn't mean that you wait 4 months and then start meeting with your friend, with your teammates. This means that the moment I send you the confirmation email and you have the contact details of the other team partners, put you together, that's the moment you start planning your catch-ups, okay? Please. 5 months is you have a lot of time, but don't wait until the end because it's worth nothing. You can't get to know a person unless you meet that person every day. You can't get to know a person 1, 2, or 3 hours. Just, it's not valuable. Just, it's nice, but it doesn't mean it's worthless. For me, it's culturally worthless. So please don't forget, once you get the email, that's the moment you start planning your catch-ups. Okay? And at the end of the 5 months, that's the only thing I ask you to do. So catch up regularly. And the other thing is, at the end of the 5 months, you then submit, again, so online, you submit a reflection piece. And we'll talk about that, what that means. So a reflection piece, that could be a video, that could be something written, anything you want to create, as long as it shows me that you've reflected on what you observed, realized, learned, the skills you developed. So I'm not interested in a report. I'm not interested in saying we met on that day for so many hours and we talked about that. It's nice, but that's not a reflection, and we'll talk about that, what it means. Once you have the reflection and it's a good reflection piece, I'll give you feedback. No grades. I'll just give you feedback. And then you receive a certificate, okay, of completion. And that you can use also for another program we'll see afterwards. Okay, I'd just like to stress again, this is not an academic course. Think, please, very differently. This is extracurricular. That means non-academic. It's a social program. It's a cultural program. Yeah? We realize at the university that it is very difficult for international students to actually meet and get to know local students. That's one reason why I created this course. You are together in the classes, but we know that once the class is over, outside of the classroom, many local students go home, or because they have their friends, they have their family, they grew up here. And you as international student, it's really difficult to connect with the local students. So that's one reason. The other reason is that, I don't know, how many of you are new students who just arrived? Okay, so quite a few among you. One of our university's graduate attributes, that means what we hope our graduates will take from our university, apart from their academic life, is to be cultural competent. It's one of the graduate attributes. So this program also, as I said, the reason is that we wanted to encourage and offer something where our students, all our students, can have an international experience while you're here on campus. Some of you might want to go overseas to study, which I can only say, please do if you have the chance. Take that leap, get out of your comfort zone, go overseas to study for half a year or a year. My colleagues have scholarships for that, so there is money. Generally, you can apply for. But some of you might not want to go overseas. Some of you can't go overseas. And this program is also, the reason for this program is also that to give you, those who are here, you are here, you don't have to go overseas to get that experience. It's a very different and very valuable one, but we wanted to also give you the opportunity to connect with the many international students we have on campus, and so that you can have a global and international experience here on campus. So that's what this program is about. So no exams, no fees, no tests, no marks. Okay? I will match you unless you want to match yourself. I match you in a group of 2, if I can, an international student and a local student. But I never know who registers, so I have to work with the pool of students who register. But I can also match you maximum a group of 4, which is something I'm introducing this year. It's the maximum. The bigger the group becomes, the less I think the conversations are going to be, or it's going to be interesting, but I'm afraid that some of you who might be more shy or so won't say a word, and 1 or 2 others are going to dominate the discussion. And that's exactly what I want to avoid by having 2 big groups. But my experience from having run this program for 2 years now is, if some of you, I match you, let's say in a group of 2, you decide after a while, for whatever reason, that you don't want to do the program anymore, and there we go. I have a student who's very unhappy because that student was matched, and then the student isn't matched anymore. So I decided to allow, let's say, maximum groups of 4 this year to see whether I have less students who are going to be unhappy. Because if one of you doesn't want to do the program anymore, then there's still 2 or 3 left. But generally, I would match you more in groups of 2 or groups of 3. Okay? But it is possible sometimes to match in a group of 4. It all depends. Now, self-matching. So far, I've received about 126 registrations. None of them have said, I'd like to be matched with these and these students. I just wanted to let you know you can decide who you want to be matched with. If you meet a student who has a different background, cultural background to yours, you can let me know, and you want to do the program together, register together. You decide. So I don't do that, but you do that. Yeah? Please think about that. Even if you've already registered, and you still now, after this session, you think, oh, you know what? I'd like to change because I'd like to determine who I will be matched with. Let me know, and I can change that. Okay? So, but generally, it's me matching you. There are some preferences. You can let me know whether you would like to be matched with somebody from the same academic background and from the same gender. Okay? I can't guarantee. I will do my best, but I cannot promise you that I will find a student I can match you with who is from the same. But I will do my best. But understand, I don't go to a shop and buy the students. It depends on who registers. But you can let me know that. As I said, I can do rematches, but I'd like to avoid that because it's always difficult. But if you're not happy with your group, or for instance, if the other student doesn't react, and you don't get together from the first moment on, remember, let me know, and then I can help. That's my role. Once I matched you, I'm there to help you and help you along the process. Yeah. So again, I said 2 options. This semester, 5 months program. Next semester, I'm going to offer a shorter program. I call it Global IQ Connect Intensive because it's half the time. Yet, you will see that I expect of you to meet up with your teammates around 20 hours over the entire period. Not in a week, not in a month, but for instance, 20 hours, get together, face to face. Don't give me FaceTime, don't use Skype, don't use email. I want you to meet the other person face to face, and there's a reason for that. Okay, so But if you wanted to do the program rather next semester, not this semester, you can do that. If you want to do the program again next semester, you can do that as well. Okay, so 2 options this year. The registration deadline for this first semester is going to be 24th of March, which is a Sunday. Is that true? Yeah, 24th of March. And then I will do the matching. And then I'll send you an email on the 10th of April. And that is the official start. So as I said, once I send you that information, I send you the profile, or I send you the name and the email address of the student or students I've matched you with. So you can get in touch with them. And I've learned that, and I understand that that is not so easy. When I say just get in touch, it's not easy. I understand that. You don't know each other unless you've matched yourself. You don't know the other person, so many of you might be reluctant. In order to help you, I will, shortly after the 10th of April, I will organize what I call a Let's Meet Up meeting, where I invite you and your teammates, and we'll get together. There will be food and drinks, non-alcoholic, and I will then, that might be the first time that you will get together with your teammates. So I understand that it's not so easy to just say, you have all the information, now get together. But it's really from that moment on that I want you to get in touch. But I'll help you, and I'll send the dates and details about all the events will be, as I said, in the Canvas, that online, not course, but online instrument that we will use. And I will send you the link to that online resource. I will send you the link in the email that I'll send you on the 10th of April. So just remember, 24th of March is registration deadline. Until then, please let me know whether you want me to change anything in your registration. Don't register a second time just because you want to maybe change your address or so. Send me an email. Okay? That is the way. Good. Any questions so far? Okay, good. So, as I said, you will need to sign in to that online resource document, which is Fundamentals of Culture and Intercultural Communications. It's really it's not, if you want to read through it, I think it only will take you an hour. It's a lot of videos, some questions that you might want to do, quiz questions. You don't have to, as I said, it's not much. It's just very basic, what is culture and how we affect by it. But that will be the way through that I communicate with you. Okay, so you all have to sign in. As I said, I expect you to plan to meet up with your teammates 20 hours over the entire period. Okay? And you are in charge of that. You and your teammates. I will help you along with events in the in between, social events. I'll have a workshop, a cultural workshop. I have the Let's Meet Up session, but those are not the only times you should meet up. In fact, this is in addition. The events I organize, you can count towards the 20 hours, but they are in addition to your much more important self-managed catch-ups. Okay? And I have to stress that because some students in the past waited for me to organize their catch-ups. Can you imagine that? I'm one person. How am I going to do that? It's up to you. Okay. Why is it also up to you? Let's say when you start your working life, you will be put together with colleagues you don't know, you might not like, you might not understand, and yet you have to work together. This program can help you get the skills, develop the skills, how to do that in a positive way. But your boss is not going to take your hand and lead you to everybody. It's your initiative. So basically, one element, one characteristics you have to try is to be courageous. Get out of your comfort zone. it will be rewarding for you. But give you that push. I will help you along, but you have to take the initiative. Okay? In this online Canvas document, you can also log your hours. Please do log your hours. Ideally, after every time you met with your teammates, just write down how much time and approximately which cultural topics you talked about. Now, I'd like to be clear on this. I know that when you get to know a person, you don't start the first time to talk about culture. That's obvious. You want to get to know the person. It takes time. But I've had students who after 5 months have written to me, Annette, I don't know what to write in the reflection piece. We didn't talk about culture. Okay. Why then go into this program? Why register? This program is focused on culture. You introducing your culture and the other teammates introducing theirs and discussing, seeing what are the differences, what are the similarities. There are many more similarities between what sometimes looks like a very different culture than there are differences. But the differences are interesting and we want to keep them. We want to understand them. Try to put yourself in the shoes of another person. Why is he or she doing it that way? Why, for instance, talk about gestures, body language, so non-verbal communication. The reason why I want you to meet face-to-face is that the majority of our communication is not through words, is not verbal. The majority of our communication as human beings, the majority is non-verbal. If you have to be there. Observe the other person. What do they mean with hand signs? Our hands and our eyes are basically the most expressive part of us, of our body, in the communication. Some hand gestures might be the same in different cultures, yet they mean something very different. It's important to know the differences, to be introduced to the differences. There might be cultural misunderstandings we can avoid by knowing that. Okay? So that all of that is part of the getting together. So talk about that. Observe each other. Ask, why are you saying this like that? Why are you expressing it? Why in some cultures you don't say no? There's a reason. Try to understand and ask about that reason. You don't have to agree. I've had many students who told me and wrote to me that they didn't agree, but they understood where the other student came from because of the different background. So that's what this program is about. Ask. Okay? So the experience, there are 3 parts to every experience we have. We know that from research. So the experience part, the interpretation, and then the reflection. So the experience part is getting together, actually what I call social catch-ups. Whenever you can, and I would suggest, I know that your studies are priority. Absolutely. You have your studies, you have your friends, you have your life. Yeah? And then there is maybe this, if you want to do this. But I would say one of the biggest challenges, and we'll see Sabrina is here, another ambassador, and Ankit, they will let you know if one of the questions is, how do you manage your time? We have so many other things. How do you manage that? I would suggest try to, as much as possible, try to plan your catch-ups. Okay, so that's one thing, the social catch-ups that you manage. Remember, you manage that. The interpretation is the course that I put together, the online resource. I'm not going to use the word course. The online resource has some questions, some guiding questions that maybe will help you in your conversations and give you some ideas. That's all. That's the interpretation. And then the reflection. We know from research, any of our experiences, if we don't sit down and have a moment and think about why did I, for instance, why did I react so aggressively or emotionally to a situation when I was overseas? There are many reasons why. If you don't think about that, then you won't learn from it. Because what I really would like you to develop is this, what I call is much more than cultural awareness. It's cultural knowledge. It's a cultural strategy. So for next time, when you are in the same intercultural situation that you know what you learned from last time, and you try to avoid it if it wasn't positive. Okay? That's the reflection. If you don't have that moment of reflection, the learning is incomplete. That's why it's so important that you also reflect on this experience. The question is, we'll get to the reflection piece. So, the rest I mentioned before, what it can be. I will also have a workshop on what is a reflection piece to help you along, because many students send me a report and not a reflection. So we'll get to that. For instance, I've given here one example from a local student. One of the things we did together was go to a dinner event for the first week of Ramadan. This was eye-opening for me as an Australian, being completely surrounded by people of another cultural way of life and seeming to be the odd one out in a way. So I matched her, I think, with a female Pakistani student. And so it was a local student here in Australia, here in Adelaide. She was invited. And she, with that experience, when she went along to the feast of Ramadan, during Ramadan, so in the evening, when they could eat and drink, she, for the first time, she said to me, she realized what it means to be the only one who is not part of a culture. Through that, she understood much better what many of you as international students are going through. That is a reflection. She's not telling me what they talked about, what they did that evening, but she gave me the reflection, and that's what I'm looking for. So what I'm looking for is, did your opinion change due to an interaction with a fellow student? How did it change? Maybe it didn't. That's fine. If it didn't, that's fine as well. Did you learn any new skills? For instance, did you feel, or do you feel that after the program, you're more confident to approach a student or a person from another culture and engage in conversation? That could be a skill that you developed through this. Were you surprised by anything? As I said, we all have our ideas in our head. Were you surprised by something that you didn't expect? And so on. Whereas a report is something where students send me, on that day, on that time, we did this, we went there. Nice, but I'm really not interested in that. Or they introduce Christmas to me. They tell me what Christmas in Australia is like. I understand it might have been new to them, but that's not a reflection. That's a report about something general, a culture, a tradition. It's not a reflection. What did that person think about the tradition and how we in Australia do live that, or do practice that tradition? The reflection, her thoughts and feelings on that is a reflection, but not what Christmas is like here. No, that's not a reflection. And many students also just give me a report. In India, we do this. In China, we do this. Interesting, very interesting, but it's a report. It's not a reflection. Yeah? But we'll have workshops on that as well. Any questions so far? What time is it? Ooh, much late. Okay, very quickly, and then I want to give I want to let Ankit and Sabrina speak to you. So, I think I mentioned I mentioned much of this before. At the end of the 5 month, I'll ask you to participate in the survey if you want to, because I can only improve this program if I get feedback from you. And I can always improve this program. You need to be 18 years old to participate. I cannot accept any student who is not 18 years old yet. So that's a bit of a problem, because I have some students who registered who are not 18 yet. You need to be enrolled in a degree. So if you do a PEP program or a preparatory program, you need to actually be enrolled in your degree to be able to participate in this program. As I said, you can register several times. Each time, of course, I will match you with another student, and I will give priority to those students who have not participated before. But you are welcome to register several times, whenever you want to. And whether you're first year, second year, third year, fourth year, whatever, you can always register. Anybody. Undergrad, postgrad, PhD, anybody can register who is at our university. We also have a Facebook page, but we'll talk about that once you've registered. Please do look on the website for any information or contact me, but look at the website first, please. Okay, now, I've mentioned that as well. The events are not compulsory. Apart from the info session, the events are not compulsory. Where's the registration list? Can you have all of you signed it and put your name down on the registration list? If not, could those who came a little bit later please sign your name? So all the events that I will organize, I will always have them on, as I said, through the Canvas. LinkedIn, you can always see the events, the dates that come up. You don't have to participate, but I encourage you to participate. I will also organize social events where you can meet with former participants and get to know other students. And at the end of the year, I hope you all are here, at the end of the year we'll have an end of the year celebration. So a lot of events that I hope I can organize this year. I'm just one person, but I'll try to do what I can. I might also organize a session about Aboriginal culture and so on. So we'll see what that brings. Now I'd like to introduce Ankit and Sabrina. Maybe could you come here, please? So they are ambassadors since this year, or yes, I just started to establish a student ambassador program, and Sabrina and Ankit are two ambassadors. So please take this opportunity to ask any questions you would like to, and I'll leave it to you, both of you. Here you go.
Hi everybody, my name's Sabrina. I took part in the Global IQ Connect program last year. I found it a fantastic program to be part of, which is why I'm an ambassador for the program this year. I'm really happy to see that all of you have come out to this information session, and I hope that you'll continue forward by taking part in the program and meeting other students. For me, I decided to take part in this program because I found it was a great opportunity to meet new people within the university, so people who may not necessarily be studying the same degree as yourself, and also people of a different cultural background. For me, I am a local student, and I have found growing up in Australia, I have always had contact with individuals from other backgrounds through my schooling, through university, through employment as well. And I felt that this program was a fantastic opportunity to help further develop my communication skills and learn more about people's cultures. I also found it particularly important because when we look around at the university students, as we walk around the university and even just looking around this room, you can conclude that there are people from diverse range of cultures. And so I think it's really important to know how we can interact with each other, because in the end, you know, we are all one, we are all at this university, or even, you know, in Adelaide or Australia or globally, we all need to respect each other's cultures. So I think it's really important to take part in this program to sort of realise the ways that we can interact with each other and to have that cultural acceptance as well. For me, I found the main benefit of this program was that I was able to make new friends. This program also opened up my eyes to the meaning of culture. It helped me understand my own views on that really are based on my own culture. So I was partnered with 2 international students last year, and we met on a weekly basis to discuss our cultures. We decided that we'd plan our meetings by deciding in advance what topics we were going to talk about each week. So we decided we'd meet once a week at the university at a specific date and time that didn't interact with our studies, and we discussed different topics such as food, religion, sort of celebrations in each of our cultures, the importance of family, friends, or even sort of public holidays in our cultures, even sports and recreational activities. for me, the most significant part of this program, as to the meaning of culture, was that it helped me sort of understand and identify who I am through my own culture, and that my views, or the way I perceive my culture, may be viewed differently from than other people, and vice versa as well. So I found that in one of the discussions that we had on sort of celebrations, I learnt that in one of the cultures, they have a celebration where they celebrate deceased individuals by bringing in their deceased family members into their home and celebrating. And for me, I felt that was in complete contrast to my own culture, where for me, the deceased are buried. You know, we feel more, in my culture, more upset by having deceased family members. And so I really identified a contrast in views there, and having you know, the contrasting view explained by someone else from a different culture, I was able to step into their shoes and see, you know, I was able to share their perspective that, wow, it is something that we can be, you know, happy about. We can celebrate in that regard. So for me, it was really an eye-opening experience to see how the way I see things are because of my culture, and that someone from a different culture could see something in a different manner. So in the end, there really is no right or wrong, but I think it's just really important to open our eyes to the many ways that people can see things. I also found that taking part in this program has benefits in the future, because as I mentioned earlier, we are all from different cultural backgrounds, and we will always encounter people from different cultural backgrounds. So particularly as students going forward in employment and in the workforce, we will always have other employees from different cultural backgrounds, and I think it's really important to learn the skills to be able to communicate with each other, and that way we can work well together. It'll make employment, you know, much more an enjoyable experience when you can talk to someone nearby and, you know, share cultures, or, you know, be able to relate to each other in a way and make friends, not just sit silently because we're of different cultures. So I think this program really has the benefits in helping us identify those skills that we need to communicate with people from different cultures. Some of the main challenges I found with this program was really in the beginning. So I received, you know, the email detailing who my 2 international students would be and what cultures they were from. I felt I didn't know much about those cultures, and I also didn't know the students at all. So I found it a challenge, and was asking myself, how do I get in contact with these people? You know, how can I make the program interesting so that they do come, we can meet up, we can become friends, we can talk with each other comfortably. So I sent them an email to welcome them to the program, and initially through emails we were able to identify a time that we could meet face to face, and we just had one casual session where we just met up, not necessarily to discuss culture, but just to discuss who we are. So just to find something that we had in common. So just basically what our names were, what we're studying at university, because as students, we have that student perspective in common. From there, we mentioned a bit what cultural background we're from, and from there, we decided how we were going to plan our sessions. So we decided, like I said earlier, we'd meet once a week on a certain day per week, and we decided our topics in advance. That way, before the upcoming session, we'd be able, you know, we went on the internet, we'd grab pictures and decide what specific things we were going to cover. That way we were prepared for the session, and all could bring something to share about our cultures. So at the beginning it was a bit awkward because we didn't really know how to sort of approach each other in questioning or asking about culture. But with time we did develop friendship, and I did find it difficult at first in terms of wanting to ask questions to my 2 students. But I felt we're all here in the program to hear about culture, so it's important just to kind of take the most of the opportunity, and with time you do feel more comfortable with those students as you get to know them better. So with time we were able to ask each other any questions about the culture that we didn't understand. We were able to laugh at different aspects of culture without it coming across as offensive, because we had sort of built that relationship where we all shared different aspects, and laughing in a friendly manner about something of one culture allowed us to explain, wow, you know, that's really I'm laughing because that's different in my culture. This is what we do. I'm laughing because there is such a difference. And we really developed a strong friendship through that.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you maybe now to give, unfortunately, we don't have so much time next time. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to give
Well, thank you. I think Sabrina has covered a lot of things that I wanted to say, so I thank you for that. There is a time constraint, otherwise I'm a big talker. Anyways, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I just want to let you know I'm probably in the middle. This is my 5th year in Australia, so I'm a local, but by birth I'm international. And this is my 5th country where I've been, so I left my country back in 17 years back. So the reason I joined this program 2 years back was to really understand the local culture, to be very honest. And there are a few things that I really found interesting is, like I lecture, so in my class, the students, they kind of feel very hesitant in talking in their group environments. That affects their grades quite a lot. People who have joined this course, they have told me that it becomes quite easy for them to discuss their matters with their group members. So this kind of a program is quite important for all the international students as well as local students, because at the end of the day, you're in the university doing a program to get a degree, to get high marks, probably. And in the process, if you're able to develop yourself, get more understanding of the local culture, international culture, trust me, I've done my thesis on this. I've been in industry for 15 years. Your employability will shoot up. Employers are looking for people to hire people in the organization who are comfortable with other culture. In this world of globalization, nobody is siloed into a chair, sitting in a corner, thinking that I know everything about my culture and I'll do it. But this program is kind of a seed that you want to be sown in your mind, where you can just feel a bit more comfort in trying to understand different people from different culture. There might be sensitive issues. I'll give you an example. I was paired up with a girl from China. And being an academic, it's not so easy to discuss some sensitive issues. Few people from China would know how sensitive this matter is, the difference between China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. But while discussing it with her, it was so easy. She opened up, she told me things that probably book chapters or articles would never tell me. She told me all insights into how they feel, how people from these 3 different parts of the world feel. And it was so easy to discuss these intimate discussions. And I feel, I go out after reading all these papers, I thought that 10-minute discussion made me more enriching than spending 3 years of doing literature research or review on these kind of matters. So if you take it seriously, and seriously in a fun way, if you actually spend time trying to understand different person, different cultures, then you will come out as an enlightened person, which will help you as an individual, but it will also help you more from an academic aspect. And trust me, I've been teaching from last 4 years. This is my 8th semester. People who have taken in this program, their group assignments are much better. They are able to open up to their people in the group. They're able to discuss all these kind of things, and they're happy to say, no, I don't understand. Can you please explain? And people who are a bit siloed or who are not opened up, don't want to discuss, they're kind of cocooned in a corner, want to say that I don't understand this, but they nod their head. Yeah, I understand, when the local people talk to them. So these kind of things will probably help you in this. I'm on level 10 of the Nexus building. If there's anything, I can see a few of my students here from the first year course, and I'll see them in an hour's time. But if there's anything you want to discuss with me, you can take my emails from NS. You can come to level 10. I'm more than happy to sit with you. And if you have any problem, just let me know. Okay? But I'm pretty sure people who will register, you guys will enjoy. Trust me. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you.